Hello everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about how I have my reef tank set up. So this is a 150 gallon rimless tank from Planet Aquariums. It's 60 inches long, 25 inches high, and 25 inches wide. I have this tank set up as a mixed reef tank. It's been up running about a year and a half now. So I have all my SPS towards the top of the tank, and then all the SPS, zoa, mushrooms, and anemones kind of like at the bottom of the tank. For the water flow of this tank, I have a lot of flow in this tank. So I run 4 MP40s, 1 on each side of the tank, and then 2 in the back of the tank. As far as power, I run about 80% on each side of the tank, and then I run about 35% for the 2 in the back of the tank. As far as lighting, I have 3 AI52 HDs, and I also have 3 Radeon AR15 blues. So I get a lot of lighting on these. I have it set up as 80% power. I think I get about 400 to 450 par on top of the tank, and then about 200 to 250 the bottom of the tank. And I run my lighting from 12 to 10 o'clock at night. As far as livestock in this tank, I have 10 Bartlett's Antheus, have 1 purple tang, 1 blonde nasal tang, 1 copper band butterfly fish, and 1 powder brown tang. I have about 20 different snails in this tank also too, and about 20 to 30 hermit crabs. So that's kind of like my cleaning crew, and it keeps the tank really clean. So that's my setup for this reef tank, mixed reef tank. On my next video, I'll go over how my sump is set up and how it's all connected. So this is my sump. This is a Trigger Ruby 36 sump. So it has 3 sections. This section is for the drain, basically the primary drain, the secondary drain, and the emergency drain. This middle section here is for the refugium, which is I have. And I'm also running my skimmer in this section. And then the last section is for my return pump. So this sump is a little bit small. I wish I would have gotten a bigger sump. I really would like another section here, so that way that I can run my refugium and my skimmer separately. Right now, since it's so small that I have to run it together. So this sump was designed to run 2 filter socks, one for the primary drain and then one for the secondary. But I went out and I bought this Red Sea Reef Mat 1200, which is the larger one. So the reason why I bought this because I didn't want to change the filter socks anymore. So I was going to run both primary and secondary into this reef mat. But as you can see, that is so big that I couldn't barely fit this in here. So I'm only running the primary drain into here. And then the secondary, I'm still running the filter socks. So, but I'm running this primary drain is 100%. Then here, I'm running it at like around 40%. So only 40% of the water are coming down here. And I'm still replacing the filter socks once a week, but it's not as bad. This roller mat here, this lasts about 9 weeks, sometimes 10. So I change that every 9 to 10 weeks. In this middle section, I'm running the refugium. You can see I have Jado here, and I think this is called Dragon Breath or something. And this little device here is just keeping the Jado from getting into the skimmer. For the skimmer, I'm running the Deltec 1000 IX. I think this is, the reason why it's IX, I think because it comes with a controller. I'm running only at 8 speed. This is rated for 150 gallon up to 250. And my tank is 150 gallons, so it's way more than I need. But this is a great skimmer. It's super quiet. As you can see, it's running right now, and you can, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but you can barely hear it. That's the reason why I bought it. Also, it works great. There's a drain line that I run down to this container here. The reason why I do that though, if it's running out here, so it can come down this, so I don't have to replace the stuff that come out here. It looks clean right now because I cleaned it for this video. This little section here is for a filter pad. So I do have a couple of filter pads in here. So that way that water coming down from the drain, going through the refugium, coming down through the filter pad here, and then it goes into my return section. So this is my return section. My return pump is the Ecotech Marine. This is the Vectra L2, which is their biggest one. This is rated for 3,100 gallon per hour. It's way more than I needed, but the reason why I bought this, because this, to me, I think this is the primary section of the sump. Like if this breaks down, your tank breaks down. So the reason why I run a bigger pump is because if I run a smaller pump, I would have to basically crank that running at 100% all the time. So I bought a bigger pump, and I'm only running at 55%. So I figured that if you're only running 55% of the time, that the pump would run less, and that it would last longer, and it'd be more reliable. Because definitely you don't want this to break down. And in this, I also have an ATO, which I'm running the Toonsy ATO. This is very reliable. I've been using this the whole time. This is connected to a 20-gallon drum that I have hidden on the other side of this stand. So I only having to replace the water in the ATO every 12 days of evaporation, so that's not bad. So that's the reason why I run a 20-gallon drum, because I definitely don't want to replace water every day or every other day or every week. I also have this UV sterilizer, so I use the Orca 57 watt UV sterilizer. It's way more than I need. I got a deal on it, it was on sale, so I made a purchase. I figured the bigger the better. So with it running 24/7, I've noticed that my water are super clear, and I'm only having to clean the glass every 3 to 4 days. Without it, I have to clean the glass every other day. So also down here, I have this water leak sensor that I use. I figured that anytime you run anything outside of the sump there's a chance of leaks and stuff. So I have the sensor. What it does is if it detects any kind of water leaks, it actually sends me a text and an email message. I also have this dosing pump that I use. This is a Kimura F4 Pro, I think, and I'm only using 2 of the heads. Then I also have this Inkbird temperature monitor. Obviously, it's good to have that to monitor your temperature. And then as far as the Refugium light, I use this Refugium light here, which I bought it on Amazon. It's like $15. It works very well. It's cheap, and the reason why I bought this is because before I was using other lights, it was just heating up my sump too much. There's too much heat, so I used this. I bought this smaller version lamp, which doesn't give off a lot of heat, but it actually works to grow the Chaeto. So I use that, and this light come on at 10 p.m. and goes off at 5 a.m. in the morning. So, and it goes on like this. Like that. I also have a power backup battery device. So I think this is called the EcoFlux River 3. I only have my return pump connected to this device. And so if the power goes out, I think my return pump can run for, I think, anywhere from like 48 hours to like 72 hours. So the reason why I have this is because I live in a hurricane area where we get hurricanes sometimes. So I have that as a backup, just in case the power go out. My tank can still run, 48 hours, 72 hours without power. So that's my sump setup. I will show you guys how I maintain my water parameters and how I dose my system to keep all my corals healthy and happy and to get really good growth. I also wanted to let you know that this method works for me and it may not work for you. So before we do that, let's take a quick look at my tank so that way that you guys can see all the corals and how they are doing. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the view of my tank. So let's come down here and I'll show you how I run the system to keep everything happy, rolling. So in order for me to keep this thing running, believe it or not, all I do is I dose all for reef and I do weekly water changes. It's just that simple. That's all I do. I dose this all for reef using a Kimura pump. Let me show you that real quick. So I dose every single hour for 14 hours straight using all for reef. It took me a while to get here, but that's all I do now. Actually, it took me about a year to figure out how to simplify the process of just dosing all for reef and doing water changes. So I'm dosing all for reef. It's just really to maintain my alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium. And the water changes, what it does is just help me replace the trace elements that my coral needs. When I first started the system, I used to dose Kaltwasser. I took a tablespoon of Kaltwasser, put it into an ATO container, using the ATO pump to dose my system. After a while, I started SPS, so I needed more. So I switched to bulk resupply 2-part. This is where you dose alkalinity and calcium separately, but the same amount. After a while of just dosing bulk resupply 2-part, I started noticing that my corals were not getting the growth or the coloration that I wanted. So I started dosing Aquarium Power for coral growth, Red Sea AB Plus for coloration, and I started feeding Reef Roy. This got expensive really fast, so I stopped doing that. People were telling me in order to get really good growth in your corals that you really need to maintain a high pH level. So I started dosing Kaltwasser again. This time I went out and made a purchase from Abass Marine. This is a Kaltwasser reactor. This is where you put in like half a cup of Kaltwasser, and it uses like a stir 24/7, and then you would drip the Kaltwasser into your sump. So I was using this Kaltwasser reactor for a while, along with the bulk resupply 2-part, along with the coral, food, and Aquarium Power. After a while, I've noticed that it was just too much for me to maintain. So that's when I went to all for reef. So I got rid of the bulk resupply 2-part, all the coral food, and just mainly focus on the Kaltwasser reactor along with all for reef. So recently, after talking to a few experts from my local fish store and learning how they maintain their reef system, I decided to simplify the process again, so that way I can enjoy my reef tank, spend less time worrying about what to dose and how much to dose. So I got rid of the Kaltwasser reactor and just dose all for reef and start doing weekly water changes. It is really easy to maintain my reef system by dosing only one solution and doing water changes to replace my trace elements. I hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm going to show you guys how to mix the all for reef powder and turn it into a dosing solution. This is the all for reef powder container. This is the 1600 gram, which is their largest container. This also comes in a premix solution, so that way you don't have to mix it yourself, but it's more expensive. This container costs about $75, and you can actually mix it up to 10 liters, which is about 10,000 milliliters. So to mix this powder and make it easier for yourself, I recommend you guys buy a magnetic stir. So I have one here from Intel Lab. And also, I also bought this glass beaker. That way that it's actually easy to stir the powder. And you'll need RODI water in order to do this process. So what you need to do is you need to pour about 900 milliliter of RODI water into this glass beaker, and then per their instruction you use 6 scoops of the powder and you put it into here. So let's do that real fast. Okay, so I have about 900 milliliter of water. So now I'm going to add 6 scoops of the off-reef powder into here. So normally what I do is I basically turn this on, let the water get going. As you can see. Usually have it at like midway. Now I'm going to add 6 scoops into here. So the off-reef container, it does come with a scoop. So you'll need to add 6 scoops into here. So I use an extra spoon just to level it out. So that's 1. Two. 3. 4. 5. 6. So once you do that, I normally turn this up a little bit. And I leave this stirring for about 30 to 40 minutes. So let's leave this here for about 40 minutes today, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. That's been about 40 minutes. So I'm going to show you guys what this solution looks like. So I forgot to tell you, normally when I'm using this mixer, I usually put a piece of paper towel on top of the water so it's not splashing everywhere. So let me show you what it looks like. It's not really clear. So that's what it looks like. Also, you know, when we started this, we put in 900 milliliter of water. So after adding the 6 scoops of powder, you get 1,000 milliliter of dosing solution. I usually pour this dosing solution into a gallon jug that I got from BRS. It actually holds 4,000 milliliter. So basically it holds four of these. And I recommend you guys using this because it's thin, it saves a lot of space versus using this. So let me show you now. I'm going to pour this into my dosing solution. So that's my dosing jug. So I take the solution, I pour it into here. Let me show you guys how to do that. So I have a funnel. That's it. That's how I do that. So let me show you guys now how to program the doser to dose the solution. So I use this Kimura F4 Pro Wi-Fi dosing pump. And the reason why I like this dosing pump is because it's Wi-Fi enabled and it has an app. And I load this app onto my iPad. So the way this works is that it shows you that I just loaded 4,000 milliliter of dosing solution into my dosing jug, and I dose 90 milliliter per day. So based on that, the solution will last me 44 days. So I have this set up to start dosing from 7 till midnight. So I dose 90 milliliter per day, but I spread it over 14 hours within a day. So you can see this. I start out at 8 a.m. dosing 5 milliliter. So I spread it out every single hour. And the reason why I do that is because I'm trying to maintain a 9 DKH alkalinity. So instead of dumping 90 milliliter all within 1 hour, I spread it out over 14 hours to maintain the 9 DKH stability. So I'm trying to maintain my alkalinity stability within the day, so it doesn't go up or down. And that's really important for coral growth and how you run your reef tank. All right guys, so basically that's how I program the Alpha Reef dosing solution and how I dose my reef tank throughout the day. I also show you how I mix the Alpha Reef powder and turn it into a solution. Today I will be showing you guys how I do my water changes. So I perform a weekly water change in this tank. All I do is I take 30 gallons of water out of here and replace it with 30 gallons of new fresh water. Salt water. My RODI unit is located in my laundry room. That's where I get the filter water. So let me take you guys there and show you that process. All right, so we're in my laundry room. This is where my RODI unit is located. So I'm using the VRS 4-stage plus 75 GPD. So I have it hooked up here. It's the water line. And it goes to right there. So where you turn it on, the water, you turn off the water. So I have a Brute. This is 44 gallon. So normally I produce about 35 gallon of RODI water. So I have it marked right there. So generally I like to start out with about 4 or 5 gallon of water first. Then I use a heater. So this is like a 500 watt heater. So I would place it in here like that. And I turn it on. So it's warm where I am right now, but since I run this overnight, it's good to have the heater because the water temperature is like 70. I like to keep mine at 78, 79. So in order for me to get to 35 gallon, it takes me about 10 hours. So the night before that I'm going to change the water, like 9 p.m., I turn on the water, go to bed, wake up around 6 o'clock, and then I would have enough water to do my water changes. So I normally do a 30 gallon water change for my reef tank, and then the other 5 is for my nano tank. So let's turn this on now. And then what I do is it's gonna fill this tank up. So tomorrow morning I'll come back in here and I'll show you guys how I mix the salt. And for now, basically I'm just waiting for the water and I'm not really doing anything. So I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning and I'll go through the salt mixing process. Okay guys, so it's next morning. We got the water we needed, 35 gallon of water. So the first thing I'm gonna do is basically take out this heater. We don't need this heater anymore. So take this out. So I use a couple of these pumps here to mix the salt. So I turn on those 2 pumps and basically now I just add salt to this and let this mix for 2 hours. So I use Fritz Reef Pro Mix. These are the parameters. I mainly focus on the alkalinity. My tank run at 9 DKH and this salt will mix to a 9 DKH. Per their instruction, you really need to mix this for 2 hours. So I'm going to add the salt now to my water. And let me show you guys how to do that. So I use a measuring cup to add salt to the water. So this will hold 4 cups. So I have 35 gallon of water. So I need 17.5 cups. So let's add the salt to the water. Okay, so we're going to add 3 more plus 1 small cup. All right, so this is the last cup. Alright, so I'm going to let this mix for 2 hours. I'm going to come back and measure the salt level. So in the meantime, I'm just going to go grab some coffee, then come back in 2 hours. Alright guys, it's been about an hour and 45 minutes. So I just checked the salinity level and we're all good. So let's go drain the water out of my reef tank. Alright guys, so these are the tools that I use to change my water. So I made this PVC pipe with a little hook, so that hangs on to the rim of the tank. You can turn on and off the water. Then at the end has this connector. So basically I connect this to the hole like that. this is like 20 feet. This goes from my window out to the grass. This is how I drain the water. Then I use this 50 feet hose to pump the water from my laundry room to my tank. So now let me show you guys how I connect this and drain my water. So basically I take this, I put it on my tank like this. Goes down. And the end of this pipe has the tubing. So this tubing go outside to my window like this. That's what it looks like. Okay, so we're ready to drain the water. I just turn off the main pump. Here's what it looks like. So I'm going to go outside and drain the water. So I'm going to connect this tubing to this connector and start draining the water. So I got that connected. So here comes the water. And that's how I drain the water. It's going to take about 5 minutes. So I'm just going to wait 5 minutes and then I'm going to pump the water back into my tank. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. The water is finished draining. So I'm just going to disconnect this. And then I'm going to connect this in now to the hose from the inside that goes to my laundry room. I use this clip so that way, just in case this gets disconnected and the water shoots everywhere. Okay, so now we're going to go to my laundry room and connect this hose to a pump to pump the water into the tank. This pump from Amazon for like 20 bucks. So this is basically going to pump the water into my tank. So I'm going to connect this to that. Okay, and I'm just going to drop this in. So I use this Wi-Fi plug. That way when I'm plugging in my pump, I can turn it on and off from my tank. So let's go turn the pump and pump the water into my tank. Okay, so I'm back in front of my tank, so I'm ready to pump the water back in. So I'm going to use my iPad to turn on the pump. So the pump now is on. So here comes the water. So my wave maker is still on. So when the water comes in, it will mix the water. And then if the water get above this wave maker, I'm going to turn that on so that way that it will mix the water. Okay guys, it's been about 10 minutes. So I'm finished with pumping the water back into the tank. I got the water level where I need it to be. So what I'm gonna do now is basically turn off the water. So I turn this off first. I use my iPad. I turn off the pump. Then I'm gonna turn on my return pump. So my return pump is kicking on. And my tank is back to running normal. And that's it. That's how I do my water change.